Hi again. My name is Rebel and I'm the Rebel Reseller. And today we're going to be doing my what sold video, which will be for last week, Monday through Thursday. I almost said April. August 25th through the 28th. 2 good days, 2 pitiful days. It is what it is. eBay has been glitching this week. I called them. It didn't even cross my mind. I don't know what I was thinking the other day, because all of a sudden I couldn't put shipping information in my drafts that I was working on. So I called him and he was like, "You're the third person in the last 10 minutes who called." And so they were aware, and it did end up getting better in an hour or so. I don't remember. But it's still like in the mornings when I'm doing my end and sell similar. I mean, I literally waited 20-25 minutes the other morning for all of my listings to get back into unsolds. So just be careful when you're doing end and sell similar that, if you know you have listed or ended 100, when you go to enter your unsolds, make sure there's 100 there before you do anything. I do 200, but a lot of times, like I'm ending listings because I'm going to make a lot out of it. And so I usually have extras in there. So I always have to remind myself, I need to have 203 listings before I do anything. Hopefully they're going to get all this ironed out before next month. But history says no. We're going to have issues during fourth quarter too. All right, let me go ahead. I had 2 Etsy sales. I had some good sales, even though I had 2 good days. So obviously I had a couple of really nice sales in those 2 days that got my numbers up. And then I have 3 in our other store. We're like 5 days in a row that we've sold something in the other store. So I mean, that's pretty good. We have about 300 and some listings. So I'm starting to see some consistent sales. All right, let me go ahead and show you what sold on Etsy and then what sold on eBay. And then I'll show you last what sold in the other store. 2 sales on Etsy, both of them pretty good. First one was this Eden musical wind-up lion plush. Sold for $44.95. And then this Furby. This is one of the interactive ones. I don't know if it's been listed very long. But it also sold. It was actually listed for $49.95. I have a 10% off sale going in there. So it sold for $44.95. And then on eBay, bread and butter and better. First thing that sold was this Build-A-Bear cheerleader outfit lot. Sold on a best offer of $16. Somebody asked in my recent video, what do I mean by bread and butter? For me, selling plush like I do, bread and butter is those that I plan on selling between $8 and $12. So we sell a lot in that price range. But of course, I sell higher dollar stuff too.
If you're listening to somebody else talk about it or talking to another seller, their bread and butter may be, depending on what they're selling, might be 5 to 7 or 40 to 50. It just depends on the niche that they're in and how they go about running their store and business.
This was a Thai Angel Bear Angelina plush, sold for $8.96. Groovy Girls, I was just about to take this listing down because I found 3 more Groovy Girls at a yard sale, and I was just going to make a big lot, and then these 2 sold. This was Tally and Krista with an extra outfit, and they sold for $14. PJ Peekaboo Dalmatian Dog by Kids 2 sold for $13.45. Mini Tinkerbell fairy figure. Literally, that is a 2x2 block. So that's how little she was, 2 inch by 2 inch. It was from my profit pile stuff that I was going through last year at the beginning of the year. I just Google Lensed every single thing and just got them listed. It was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of listings right at the beginning of the year. And Tinkerbell sold for $14.
Before you start that one, how was sourcing this week?
Good. Finally. Well, okay, finally, yes. Very good. We had two major sales in our area this weekend. Every year they do that. I wish they wouldn't, but nevertheless, one is in our town. It's a 23 or 26 mile road of yard sales. And a lot of them are real yard sales, although there are vendors, people renting out their yards. But this year, well, there was a lot of high-priced junk, high-priced clothes, but then every once in a while we found some really good prices, good deals. So I ended up one place was probably the best stop that I made, and I bought a bunch of micro machines, a bunch of vintage plush and toys. I can't even remember everything, but I paid like $65 for everything. It's rained all week here, and the forecast said only Friday was going to be good. So we knew we needed to hit both of these sales on Friday. And the second one we went to, because it had rained all week, people weren't set up. There just wasn't a whole lot to be seen, and it was overpriced. I left there with like 5 toys. That was it.
The difficulty for us is when she says our town, she means our county, and the first ones were basically 30 minutes,
30 minutes
to
on
our
the
southwest.
other side, yeah.
And then the second place we went to was basically, we stopped at our house on the way home and then went on there, because it's basically in a complete opposite direction.
About an hour to get
about
there.
an hour apart, from each other. So, but it was the first one in our county was really good. We've done really, really well at the other one in years past. Some years not so great. This year, not so great at all. And what was it, last year, the year before, you got a bunch of Fisher Price stuff at the one in Johnson City. So it was a good weekend finally. I got to see Rebel sourcing with a smile on her face finally.
Yes. But it started raining at 3 o'clock this morning, and all I could think was people had their stuff out and they were going to be soaked. And then it's rained all day, so we didn't even attempt to go back out today. Next thing that sold were these Ariat women's fat baby cowboy boots, sold for $40 in probably less than a month. Another lovey, Carter's little gray elephant with the knotted corners, sold for $24. Chuggington trains. Yeah, this was a pretty quick sale. Robert picked this up over the summer. I want to say it was like $10 for a huge box of Thomas and Trax. And inside of that box were these, not all of these. I ended up combining my others with it, but this lot of 14 Chuggington trains, and they sold for $49.95. All right, Toys R Us, little white plush horse with a lullaby musical. It was working. 1993. Yeah, sold in like 4 days for $35.95. I know that was a Ben's pickup, and it was just something I just had gotten pulled from the bin stuff that we've been doing hauls on. Fisher Price Luke metal train. Thomas picked this up. I want to say we paid $3 for it at a church sale. There were tons of Thomas, but they started it early and we didn't get there in time to really get some of the ones that I had wanted. But this one sold still pretty quickly. $17. Chalkware. This is from that huge lot that I picked up several years ago. This was a thermometer wall hanging, sold for $15. 10 Strawberry Street is the brand. It was a cute pie plate, and it sold for $15.71. This was one of my really, really old listings. Six Flags Penelope cat plush. This was Pepe Le Pew's girlfriend. Sold for $17.95. This was a lot. I think I picked this up at the Habitat store, so I probably paid a couple bucks for it, and I just left it all together. I think I had actually combined it with like that little bear thing down there in the bottom corner. And I just thought, this would be the perfect thing for like a preschool classroom or a daycare. And it sold for $25. Lots, people. I swear this year, if you can start making lots, they are doing very well for me. How do you guys react to offers? It's getting bad. Offers that, they send you an offer, you counter, they offer back the same price that they started with. Or worse, they go less than what they offered. I'm to the point where I just want to start blocking these people. I don't know. I mean, it is not a stretch of the imagination. I've probably had 5 this week. Robert dealt with one of them. Did you put him in the block bidder list?
Yeah, the one that I dealt with, it was on our clothing store, and we had a pair of pants, and I don't remember, they offered 12. I remember that, and I want to say they were like $30 jeans, on sale for 27 or something.
Everything in that store is relatively fresh, so we're not doing drastic discounts on that store.
No, and let's say they're $30, and I would come back at like 25, and then they would decline it, and then later the same day or the next day they would come back and offer 12. I'd hit them with the 25, and then the next day they did it, and I want to say the 4th day in a row, they came and offered 10. And I called Rebel laughing about it because I'm just more of to me, it's just people being people. And I was like, well, they dropped 2. I'm going to offer 27. And she said, no, you need to block them. So I blocked them. But yes. I was going to do what they did. They went $2 in the opposite direction. I was going to go $2 in the opposite direction and just let them deal with it. If you want to be a dummy, then I'll be a dummy right back. I respond at the level that they respond with. And unfortunately, Rebel wouldn't let me.
No. And just before I was doing this video, I was ready to start and I had the same thing. They offered me 14 on a 30. So I countered, and it was an older listing. So I countered like 20, and within minutes, 14 again. And I'm like, no, I'm not giving you 50% off because it's not that old. I'm not giving you 50% off. It was a pair of jeans. What is it with clothing people? Nevertheless, what do you guys do? Do you just decline? Do you be a Robert and go higher? Or do you, counter again at the same amount? I do that a couple of times, but it's just frustrating. People are frustrating.
When people seem to be negotiating in reasonably good faith, and they offer 14 and she comes back at 20 and they offer 15 and she doesn't want to go, let's say, less than 18. I just say on the second one, just say 18 is as low as I can go.
Yeah.
And if they come back with something else, just respond again with 18. It's like, this is as low as I can go. In my mind, and this could just be imaginary, this back and forth helps in the algorithm because to me it shows activity in your store with buyers, and it seems like that's the kind of thing that eBay wants to have. So I would prefer to go back and forth with them as opposed to just saying no, decline. But I don't know. It could be all imaginary in my head about that helping in the algorithm.
It's annoying. It's annoying. Cloud Island Elephant Lovey sold for $22.45. I just picked up another one. They sell very, very quickly. Teletubbies. This is Dipsy, one of the talking plush from Toys R Us, sold for $22.45. Look, Paw Patrol. I had actually run these through Whatnot and they didn't sell. And I thought I'm just going to lot them up, put them back on eBay. And they sold in about a day, I think. There were some puppets. some plush, and they sold in a day for $25. Princess Soft Toys. This series is called Wee Beans. They are itty bitty, teeny tiny. As you can see, they're on the measuring mat. Tiny plush, sold for $10.76. I picked 2 mugs up at a church sale. I actually thought this was going to be the one that was worth the most, but it ended up being a Zodiac Fire King milk glass cup that I think I ended up selling it $20 or $30. But this McDonald's one, there's a McDonald's mug that has, it says good morning, and then there's something else. I don't remember what it is, but up there on the top, left side of the coffee mug, that one's worth a lot. But this one is just a generic good morning, and it sold for $7. I think I paid $1.25 for them. Clark's. We haven't been picking up very many shoes anymore, just because we're not finding them. These were some leather mules, and they sold for $17.96. Polly Pocket, but this is one of the more contemporary sets from 2020. Had a camping theme, and again, I just listed this in the beginning of August, and it sold very quickly, $12.10. Now, I remember picking this up at a Goodwill. I'm thinking it was when we were up in Connecticut. Robert was testing for his black belt, and my friend Beth and I went to a Goodwill. I was getting discouraged because I couldn't find anything in there, and then I found 2 of these Folk Manus bear puppets, but they took forever. I still think I might still have one of them, but this one finally sold for $34.96. I want to say I paid like $5 each, so still I would pick it up again. It's just one of those things. I love Folk Manus. All right, vintage pom-pom Easter chicks and chickens. This was in a vintage lot of Easter stuff that I picked up. Even though they look chintzy, probably were made in, Japan, Hong Kong, I still listed them, and they sold just these 4 little chicks for $19. This was a nice sell. It took probably 1.5 years to sell, but I'm okay with that. This is Oshkosh Bagosh little boy doll, and it did have the terry cloth body. Anytime you see plush that has like the terry cloth, definitely check comps. There are some that sell for hundreds of dollars. A lot of times they are Carter's and Eden. But this was a little Oshkosh one, and he sold for $69.95. Victoria's Secret little blouse, been listed about 5 months, sold for $22.21. Vintage Wherever Kebab It. We picked this set up at a Goodwill in another town, and come to find out, I think it was missing something. So I just decided to part it out. It had like a glass dome that sold very quickly. The kebab sticks sold very quickly. This was just the base with the clips, and it sold for $9. IKEA. We tend to find a lot of IKEA when we go to the St. Louis bins. It's right across the street. This was a little musical caterpillar, and it sold for $8.96 in like a week. Kelly Toy tan dog with the ice cream cone from 2019, sold for $17.95. This was an Anthropology little fox lovey, been listed since last year. Ended up taking a $15 offer for it. John Deere suede hat. We picked up 2 of these. I can't remember where we got them from. Do you remember?
I do not.
I'm thinking it was a yard sale or an estate sale. Probably paid a couple of bucks for it, and this one sold for $20. And then this. Y'all, I had to go, when you pull up something and you see that you've still got one listed, and I'm like, that's kind of a unique lovey blanket. So I had to go check the bin and make sure I actually did have a second one, but I did. It's just odd that I would have found two of these. But it is from North American Bear Company. I called it a lovey, but it's actually a blanket also. It has the little satin edge, and it sold for $49.95. Right, and then let me show you the 3 things that sold in the other store. I picked these up just recently at a yard sale. Paid $5 for them. I'm pretty sure we were leaving, and I just happened to see them. And Robert had purchased some like electrician boots at an estate sale one time for like $5 each, and they did very, very well. So when I saw these, I went ahead and did a quick search on them, and these sold for $44.71. So definitely keep your eyes open for these like rubber work boots. And then we sold these American Eagle flare jeans. They actually sold for $16.99. And these Chico's Girlfriend ankle jeans sold for $15. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope this week, I'm on like day 4 of my sales have been really, really good. So I'm hoping September, and everybody's got their kids back in school, and now let's focus on Christmas and doing some shopping. So fingers crossed, we're all going to start seeing increased sales as we head into 4th quarter. Make sure if you haven't used your coupon for your store, go ahead and get your orders, your supplies ordered. But also start checking your supplies so that you have plenty. That's what we got to do. We need to order boxes for 4th quarter. So we're going to be making a trip to Granger here real soon. So, start thinking all the extra shipping you might be doing coming hopefully here real soon.
And if you're going to be doing that shopping, hit that link in the description and go help us out with a little clickety click down there.
Yep. All right, y'all. It's time to get to work. Bye.